Hi Michelle, I wanted to show you how to make tamales. Okay. First of all, I'll give you all the ingredients we're going to need, and then I'll tell you how to put them together. Okay. So what you're going to need is you're going to need some cumin. You're going to need some salt. Okay. This is just a little salt. Okay. You're going to need some chili powder. Okay. This is in our bag. Okay. You're going to need some garlic. Right. You're going to need some Crisco or lard, whichever you prefer. And then you're going to need some masa. Now, I use this masa. This is the best, and this is the only one I will ever use. I've used all the other ones, and they are terrible. This is what you want to get. I don't know where you can get it, but the only place I can get ours is at the Mexican store. So, then you want to get your meat. I don't have any meat here because I've already used it up. However, you also want to have some hot water, and I'll tell you a little bit about what other kind of juices you might use in for the masa. Okay? Alright, so let's begin. The first thing you want to do is you want to put your masa in a bowl. Put your masa in a bowl. Well, first of all, let's back up. You need to cook your meat. So let's talk about that for a second. Okay, so when you're cooking your meat, this is what you want to do. This is what I do. Is I'll take whatever kind of meat I'm going to use. I use pork to do the meat, and what I'll do is I'll actually cook it in water, and then I'll boil it until it gets kind of off the bone, and then once I do that, then I will grind it. Okay. I grind it up with a grinder that Mom used to have, and now I have, and so I grind it all up, and then once I grind it all up, I'll cook it one more time in a pot. I'll put in some chili powder. I'll put in some cumin, some salt, and also some garlic. Okay? So when you do that, I always do it to taste. So I'll add to it. So everything I do is by taste. So you just add it until it tastes good. Now, if you put too much of one thing, what's going to happen is you're probably going to need to have some extra meat. So what I typically do is I put aside some meat, I'll cook it, and I'll see what the taste is like. And if it's too one-sided with maybe too much cumin or too much garlic or too much salt, I'll add more meat to kind of dilute it. Okay? So that's how you cook your meat. While that meat is cooking and while that's happening, then you can make, once you have all your meat cooked, then you want to do the masa. But I usually do that. I might even do that the day before, and I put it in the refrigerator to keep it, cold, and then bring it out once it's done. So you cook it to your taste, and then you have it. Okay. Now for the masa. When the masa is, you take your masa, and then you pour in. I usually pour in by the bag. I just put in enough to fill a big bowl, and then I put some of the lard, okay, or Crisco in my case. So I'll just take a scoopful. You'll see on here, if you can see it, there's a scoopful. Just take my hand in there and scoop it out, put it in, and then I mix it up until it gets kind of crumbly all over. Right? So you mix it all up, get it all crumbly, put it all together. Then I add some salt. I'll add some chili powder, and get it all mixed up. And then I'll add the hot water. Or what I like to do is I like to go ahead and get the juices from the meat. So save the juices from the meat if you cook it the day before. And then I pour that juice into the masa and mix it all up. All right? And then as I mix it up, I go ahead then and to a taste. Again, the taste, what I like to taste. So it's going to be whatever hit and miss you have. It's a little different taste. It isn't going to taste like the masa after you cook it. Now, if you want to test it, the masa, what I typically do sometimes is I'll take a little masa, put it into a bowl or actually a steamer, and I'll steam it just to check to see how it is, the consistency, right, and the taste. But then, of course, then the last part is doing the corn husk, right? So you have the corn husk, okay, and this is kind of the hardest part, and the one that takes the longest time. You got to soak these in water, hot water. So typically, what I do is I put it in a sink. I plug up the sink, put these in there, and then I put something on top of the leaves to kind of keep them down and have them soak. and I soak them for about 20 minutes. So you can soak them whenever you're ready to do the masa. Just put them in the sink, get them soaked, or a basin, whatever you want to use. Just submerge them in hot water. Okay. Once they come out, once you're ready, you take those out. There's a couple ways you can do the masa leaf. One would be is you take either a knife, you put a wad of the masa on there, and then spread it out evenly across from the top all the way to the sides, right? And then do it by hand. Mom used to use a spoon. I tried that, could never master that. What we also do is kind of cheat. We couldn't do this here while we were here in Alexandria. What you do is you take some type of board, cutting board. You put on top of the cutting board, top the masa, you put the meat, then you put a layer of plastic wrap over it. And then I use a rolling pin to roll over the leaf with the rolling pin that's flat. And then I just kind of square it off here and make sure that it's an even distribution. Then of course, to roll the masa and the meat together, you put a little bit of meat on there, the amount that you want, roll it up, and then you put it like that, and then basically that's it. Okay. Now others put different things inside of the tamales. You have beans. You could put fruit. I know that Jackie's grandma used to put fruit. You can do all kinds of stuff. We usually use pork. You can use chicken. You can use steak. Whatever you want to use to do that. Okay. Then what you do is once it's done, you put them in a steamer. Typically, what you can get is one of those big pots, the ones that Grandma used to use, the big blue ones, roasters, and then just put them in there, elevating the tamales, and then putting water underneath it and let it steam. And then you can steam it for about, I would say, an hour or so. But before I even do that, once I do about 3 or 4 of these, I actually steam them in a small little container, just to steam them, just to see if they taste good, see if everything's okay once I do it. And that's kind of pre-test prior to putting everything together. All right, that's how we do tamales here at the Tijerinas family. Sorry we couldn't be with you for Christmas. Maybe one Christmas soon. All right, love you. If you have any questions, give me a call. But you can always refer to this video. Have a great day. Love you. Bye-bye.